Welcome to Jira Bakery. In this tutorial, I'm going to explain how we can create the project specific permission schemes. Before we get onto it, if you did not subscribe to Jira Bakery yet, please subscribe, and I'm going to create the content by keeping the beginners in my mind. So before we get on to how to create the new permission scheme, I'll give you an overview of what is permission scheme. If you notice, the permission scheme is nothing but how we are controlling the user to access the project issues. If you go and see the project summary page, currently the entire project is using the default software scheme. This default software scheme is the out of the box scheme that we are getting, and it is highly advisable not to make any modifications in the default software scheme. So if we would like to have our own project specific restrictions, then we have to create the project specific software permission scheme. Let's go and create the new project specific permission scheme. To create the permission scheme, you have to have an administrator role. So now let's go and create a permission scheme. You have to click on the system cogwheel on the top right corner and click on issues, and in the default permission scheme click on copy. Now you will see the copied version of the default permission scheme. You have to go all the way to the edit, click on the edit button of the copied default permission scheme and change the name. I highly prefer to give the project name. For example, test demo project is my project name, and I will update it. With this, we copied the system default permission scheme and make it as a standalone project specific permission scheme. The very next step, what we have to do is we need to associate the newly copied standalone permission scheme to the project. To do that, go to the project and click on the project settings, click on the summary, and in the summary page, come all the way down to the permission scheme. Click on the existing permission scheme, which is for now, it is a default software scheme. Go to the actions and click on the use different scheme. The current scheme is default software scheme, and our goal here is to associate the new project specific software scheme. So click on the use a different scheme. As I said, currently it is on the default scheme, and now we have to associate the newly copied project specific scheme, which is test demo project default software scheme. So after selecting that, click on associate. Now you are in the test project for demos, and our project permission scheme is test demo project default software scheme. We are able to successfully create, which is nothing but the copying the default scheme, and made it the copied version, we made it as a standalone permission scheme. Then we associated the permission copied version to the target project. So, whatever the changes you make in the copied project specific permission scheme, this will not impact anywhere else other than this particular project. Otherwise, if you make any changes in the system default project, that will impact the all the project. It is first thing is it is not advisable to make any changes in the out of the box default permission scheme. And second of all, wherever we are using this default scheme, The changes you made in this particular default scheme will apply to all other projects. So I hope you understand how we can copy the default permission scheme and make it as a project specific permission scheme and associate that scheme to the project and make any changes in that particular project specific scheme will not impact any other projects. So let's go and see the permission scheme summary section of the project. Now you see test demo project default software scheme. This is the project specific scheme, and any change we make it here will not impact any other project except the project that we associated with, which is test project for demos. Thank you. I hope you understand how we can achieve this. And if you did not subscribe to Jira Bakery, appreciate you subscribe it to my channel. Thank you.